The story of Azula's breakdown from impenetrable and perfect to lost and alone is one of the saddest moments of Atla. It shows us how the very armor we build to protect ourselves often becomes the prison that destroys us. From conditional love and perfectionism to fear and control, this is the story of Azula's breakdown and what it teaches. To understand how a 14-year-old prodigy princess became the sobbing, chained figure we see at the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender, we need to trace her story from the very beginning. Because Azula's breakdown wasn't sudden madness. It was the inevitable result of a lifetime spent learning all the wrong lessons about love, power, and what it means to be human. We first meet Azula as a child in the flashbacks of Zuko alone, and immediately we see the golden child dynamic being established. We are shown young Azula executing perfect firebending forms while her brother Zuko struggles with basic techniques. We watch Ozai's face as he observes his children, pride and approval for Azula, disappointment and dismissal for Zuko. In this moment, Azula learns the most dangerous lesson of her life, that love is conditional and perfection is the price of approval. Then we see her with Ty Lee at the palace, watching her friend perform better cartwheels. The moment Ty Lee outshines her, even in something as innocent as aerobatics, Azula immediately pushes her down. We are shown a child who cannot tolerate being second best at anything, because being second best means losing the only kind of love she's ever known, conditional approval based on superior performance. We watch the family gather to hear Uncle Iroh's letter, and we see something crucial. Ursa calling both children together, and both excited about their gifts, both participating equally in the family moment. But then, Azula casually suggests that it would be good if Uncle Iroh died so their father could become Fire Lord, and we see Ursa's horrified expression in the background.
If Uncle doesn't make it back from war, then Dad would be next in line to be Fire Lord, wouldn't he?
Azula, we don't speak that way. It would be awful if Uncle Iroh didn't return.
Here, we witness an 8-year-old child who has already absorbed her father's ruthless worldview so completely that she sees death as strategically beneficial. She's not born of evil, she's learning to think like Ozai because that's what gets her praise. Then, we are shown the firebending demonstration that crystallizes everything. We see Azula perform flawlessly, perfect form, perfect flames, perfect control, while Zuko struggles and fails. We observe Ursa rushing to comfort Zuko while Azula stands alone, seemingly unbothered by her isolation. In this moment, Azula learns that excellence equals love, and mediocrity equals abandonment. She doesn't need comfort because she's learned to never fail, but the cost is that she learns to never be vulnerable, never to need anyone, never to show weakness. We are shown the ultimate consequence of this dynamic when Ursa disappears to save Zuko's life. Azula loses the one person who might have offered her a different model of love, leaving her alone with Ozai for 6 crucial years. During this time, she only has one influence, a father who values power above everything else, who sees compassion as weakness, who believes fear is more reliable than love. When we next encounter Azula in the Avatar state, we are shown the result of this upbringing. We see her commanding presence as she arrives at the Earth Kingdom dock. Perfect posture, calculated movements, and total control. We watch her effortlessly manipulate the ship captain, observe her disappointment that the Avatar escaped, hear her subtly threaten Zuko with, "You were lucky to escape, brother." She has become exactly what Ozai wanted, a perfect weapon disguised as a perfect daughter. In return to Omashu, we are shown how Azula understands relationships. We see her recruiting May from the Fire Fountain, not asking, commanding. We watch her arrive at Ty Lee's circus and systematically destroy her friend's new life, until Ty Lee has no choice but to join her.
The universe is giving me strong hints that it's time for a career change. I want to join you on your mission.
When Ty Lee says the circus is like a family, Azula dismisses this. We are witnessing someone who believes that control equals connection, that fear equals friendship, that power equals love. For 2 seasons, we watch Azula's methods work perfectly. We see her conquer Ba Sing Se through manipulation and strategy. We observe her outsmarting Team Avatar repeatedly. We witness her commanding absolute loyalty through intimidation. Her worldview appears to be correct. Fear is reliable. Power brings control. Perfection brings approval. She seems invincible. But then we are shown the first crack in The Beach. We watch Azula try to flirt at the beach party and completely fail at normal social interaction.
That's a sharp outfit, Chan. Careful, you could puncture the hull of an Empire-class Fire Nation battleship, leaving thousands to drown at sea. Because it's so sharp.
Thanks.
She knows how to command through fear, but she has no idea how to connect through a genuine human connection. Then comes the campfire scene that changes everything. We are shown Azula in an unprecedented moment of vulnerability as she reveals, "My own mother thought I was a monster." She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
My own mother thought I was a monster. She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
For the first time, we see behind the mask, and what we find is devastating. A girl who believes she is fundamentally unworthy of love, who accepts the label of monster because it's the only identity that makes sense of her experience. Notice that she says her mother thought she was a monster, not that she knew it. This suggests that part of Azula recognizes this might be a perception rather than a reality, but she's so damaged that she accepts the worst interpretation as truth. We see how this self-perception has shaped everything about her when she continues, but it still hurt. Here, we witness the core wound that drives all of Azula's behavior, the desperate need for love wrapped inside the certainty that she doesn't deserve it. She has built her entire identity around being the monster, because at least monsters are powerful, at least monsters are feared, at least monsters don't get abandoned for being weak. The foundation begins to crumble in The Boiling Rock. We are shown the moment that destroys Azula's worldview when May steps between her and the escaping prisoners and declares, "I love Zuko more than I fear you."
You miscalculated. I love Zuko more than I fear you.
No, you miscalculated! You should have feared me more!
We see in Azula's face in this moment not anger, but genuine confusion. For someone who has always controlled others through fear and manipulation, the idea that someone might choose love over self-preservation is nearly incomprehensible. It breaks her understanding of how relationships work. Then we see Ty Lee chi-block Azula while saying sorry through tears. We are witnessing the two people Azula trusted most, the only people she had any relationship with, choosing compassion and love over fear and loyalty. These aren't enemies betraying her. These are her closest friends proving that her entire worldview is wrong. Fear isn't the only reliable way. Love is more powerful than intimidation, and connection is stronger than control. We watch Azula process this betrayal with cold fury, but underneath we can see the confusion. Her expression in the prison isn't just rage, it's the look of someone whose fundamental beliefs about reality have just been shattered. If fear isn't reliable, if people will choose love over safety, then everything she built her life on is false. In Sozin's Comet Part 1, we are shown Ozai delivering the final blow. "You will be Fire Lord while I'm gone."
And for your loyalty, I've decided to declare you the new Fire Lord.
Fire Lord Azula? It does seem appropriate.
We watch Azula's face go from momentary joy to realization. She's being left behind again. The one person whose approval she lived for, whose love she earned through perfect obedience, is abandoning her, the hollow title. We see her standing alone in the throne room as her father walks away, and we understand that every relationship in her life has now proven unreliable. The paranoia takes hold immediately. In Sozin's Comet Part 3, we are shown Azula systematically destroying every remaining connection that she has. We watch her dismiss the Dai Li agents with increasingly erratic commands. We see her banish servants for tiny infractions. We observe the palace emptying around her as she drives away anyone who may have helped. She's so terrified of being betrayed again that she chooses isolation over the risk of connection. Then we are shown what may be the most psychologically complex scene in the entire series, Azula cutting her own hair in the mirror. We watch the scissors tremble in her hands as she makes uneven, jagged cuts in her once perfect appearance. This isn't vanity. This is someone trying to maintain perfect control over something, anything, when everything else in her life has become chaos. Her hair was part of the armor of perfection, and now she's destroying it herself rather than let it be destroyed by others. We see her mother's spirit appear in the mirror, and we witness Azula's immediate defensive response. When the hallucination proclaims to love her, we watch Azula reject this desperately needed comfort.
No, I love you, Azula. I do.
We are shown someone who literally cannot accept unconditional love because it doesn't fit her worldview. She's so convinced of her own monstrosity that she'd rather be feared than loved because fear, at least, is familiar. We see her throw a brush at the mirror, shattering both the reflection and any possibility of accepting that love. In this moment, we are witnessing the complete destruction of a psyche that was already held together by the thinnest of threads. The one thing she might have held onto, her mother's love, she destroys herself because accepting Losing it would mean admitting that everything she believed about herself was wrong. The final battle arrives, and we are shown the devastating contrast. We see Zuko arrive with Katara, someone who has learned to accept help, to trust others, to build relationships based on mutual respect. And we watch Azula arrive completely alone. No allies, no friends, no one who chose to stand with her. The difference is stark. One learned that vulnerability enables connection, the other learned that vulnerability enables destruction. We observe their Agni Kai and see Azula's technique deteriorating in real time. We watch her wild, erratic firebending contrasted with Zuko's controlled flames. Her breakdown is literally manifesting in her bending. The one thing that defined her, that made her special, earned her father's love, is now betraying her just like everything else. Then we see her make the choice that defines her character, attacking Katara instead of Zuko. We watch her redirect lightning towards someone Zuko cares about because she still doesn't understand why anyone would sacrifice themselves for love. Even in this moment of desperation, she can't comprehend the idea of selfless protection because she's never experienced it. We are shown Zuko taking the lightning meant for Katara, and we see Azula's confusion at his choice. In her world, caring about someone else only makes you vulnerable. She cannot understand heroism because she's never learned that some things are worth more than self-preservation. Finally, we witness the complete collapse. We see Azula chained and sobbing, breathing fire not as an attack, but as a manifestation of her internal rage and pain. We watch her thrash against her bonds like a caged animal, and we realize this isn't the calculated princess we've known. This is a 14-year-old girl who has never learned how to process emotions in any way other than through violence and control. We observe Zuko and Katara watching her breakdown with expressions of pity rather than triumph. Even in victory they maintain distance, because Azula has made herself so completely unreachable that even her enemies cannot help her. She is utterly, completely alone, the inevitable result of a lifetime spent pushing people away in the name of self-protection. The tragedy of Azula's story is that it was entirely preventable. She learned that love was conditional, that perfection was mandatory, and that fear was more reliable than trust. So she built herself into something terrifying and untouchable, not realizing that being untouchable also means being unreachable. Azula's breakdown teaches us the true cost of conditional love. When we raise children, or ourselves, to believe that their worth depends on performance, we don't create strong people. We create brittle people who shatter the moment they can't maintain impossible standards. The lesson is both simple and profound. The strongest thing we can do is allow ourselves to be vulnerable. The bravest thing we can do is ask for help. And the most powerful thing we can do is to love without conditions, especially when that someone is ourselves. True strength comes not from being perfect, but from being perfectly, courageously human. Her breakdown reminds us that behind every monster is often a wounded child who never learned they were worthy of love just as they are. And that recognition should inspire both compassion for others and vigilance about how we treat vulnerable people in our lives, especially the vulnerable 14-year-old still striving for recognition and external approval that lives within each of us. Because here's the truth that Azula's story forces us to confront. We all carry that desperate child inside us, the one who learned to perform for love, who fears that our worth depends on our achievements, who sometimes believes that being perfect is the only way to avoid being abandoned. The difference is that most of us eventually learn this is a lie. Azula never got that chance, and her tragedy serves as both a warning and a call to action, to offer ourselves and others the unconditional acceptance that could have saved her before it's too late.